Well, here we are. Hopefully you survived Christmas. It was a busy season, lots of activity and some things that were a little more involved than they have been in past years simply because of our situation. We had to stagger our different gatherings to try to stay under 10 people. Usually we're all together and it's a complete madhouse as especially the kids are opening their presents and all that. We had to try to keep it small, trying to be safe. We'll do the blowout next year. And I feel like we kind of overcompensated, for the lack of parades and seeing Santa at the mall and stuff like that with maybe a few extra presents on a first name basis with all the delivery people. That's all I'm going to say about that. But here's the thing. Christmas isn't over yet. Yes, Christmas Day came, but the season is still with us. There's a reason. There's that song, The 12 Days of Christmas. It's not over. It keeps going, and it doesn't even have to end in 12 days. Even after we finally take down the tree and finally take down the decorations and start moving into spring, even after New Year's Day, it doesn't matter. We can stay in Christmas mode. So I'm just saying today, it is not over. There are a lot of things that are finished. The parades, such as they were, are done. The specials on TV, all of the movies we love watching. We're going to hang on and sing a few more Christmas carols at church, but the radio stations will move on. They're not going to play Christmas music anymore. The parties are done. Maybe you're still eating some of the food left over, but that'll be gone. Pack things up, store it away for next year. But I'd like us to think about what we can carry over into 2021, what we can carry over into the whole year to sustain us until next Christmas. And I think one of the gifts that we received, I know that's a weird word to use for this, but this year, because so many of our normal routines were taken away from us, because there were so many restrictions, so many things to worry about, I feel like it did definitely frustrate us, but it also made us really kind of boil down to the essentials. What are the things that are the musts of Christmas, right? We started really thinking about what must we do? What really does this mean to us? And of course, we know Christmas boils down to exactly one thing, and that's Jesus. And you can't get away from that. But the season, I think, definitely for me, I'm thinking for a lot of people, we really realized that the season, it comes down to family. It comes down to togetherness and connectedness. Because it is a reminder, the whole story of Christmas is about joy for all the people. It's a uniting kind of thing. We're able to look past differences, and there's a lot of differences these days, aren't there? There's a lot of differences, but we can look by these when we think Jesus was born for all of us. He came to save all of us. It's very uniting. And so we can hold on to that idea of what's most important as we move into the new year. We can keep our focus on Jesus. We can keep our focus on connectedness with our families, with the people we love the most, and also, kind of broaden that. The people that we go to church with, the people that we serve with, that we live nearby, that we see every day. We can connect more purposefully, perhaps. And, I think, I'm going out on a limb here, the presents really aren't the key thing. I don't think. Not the actual, the truth is, and I would say this to my family, I would say it to anybody, I don't really need anything. But it's so nice to know that somebody thought of me and took the time to think, what is it that guy needs? Don't answer that. What does this guy need other than some socks that match, and a bag of M&Ms? I don't really need anything, but getting presents is fun. And giving presents is so much fun. Seeing somebody, realize that you figured out just what they needed or what they wanted, or both, that you surprised them and they can see the thought and the love. See, I'll be honest. This is weird for a pastor to say. I don't really spend Christmas morning thinking about the Magi and their gifts to Jesus. I know that's where the tradition started, but I don't think of that when I'm saying, here, Brett, here's what Mom and I got you this year, or here's something that I picked out just for you, Ann. What it is to me is an expression of love. It's something that shows thought, understanding. You can't buy a perfect present for somebody unless you really know them. And it's something they can always have that will remind them that you know them, that you love them, that you spent time and your money probably on that gift. And maybe that's because I'm getting older. I'm really getting more into the experiences, the being together, and all of us seeing a kid open the robot that he's always wanted, somebody getting the game they'd been thinking of, or a book they'd been dying to read. And this will really surprise you. If you know me, I've really gotten into telling stories. It's even more fun when a gift has a story that goes along with it. And so last year, I've done that now and again, but last year I did a series of presents to different people, and all of them had a story that went with it and had some running gags, as you can imagine. And it was so much fun, and it made it more memorable and more interesting, and we laughed until we could hardly breathe. And then, I'm very proud of this. Just a few days ago, my wife's born in December along with her twin, so we had a little birthday party, and my mother-in-law, Nana, gets up, and instead of just saying, here's a present that I got for people, she says, I need to tell the story about this. And everybody's looking at me like it was my fault. It was triumphant. It was one of the greatest moments because it was more of an experience, and she got why that was cool and had fun with it. And it's become a family thing. I love that we can celebrate what's most important with the people that are most important to us. We can carry that over, whether we're using Zoom or actually seeing the person, whether it's however we do it. There doesn't have to be any presence involved, but we can always tell stories, can't we? It's just the connection and loving being together and knowing that the people in our lives are gifts from God, that we're able to have that together. That's good stuff. So we can definitely carry our sense of priority forward into the new year. We can also try to hold on to that joy and the excitement. You think about the shepherds. Who was more excited than these guys? They got included in the biggest event ever. They were picked to be first when they thought they would surely be last. And they go running into town. They see Jesus. They're running around telling everybody. That's the kind of joy and excitement we want to capture. We want to bottle that. We want to hold on to it. We do not want to be the ones who run around and celebrate Christmas and then go back to the sheep and it's all business as usual. That's what we don't want to do. We want to carry that over because Jesus doesn't stop being pertinent on December 26th. Jesus is always pertinent. It's always miraculous that God came to earth. So we can keep being excited about that. Keep telling people about it. Keep sharing the story. The wise men, I love how they went home a different way. They didn't just stick to what they'd always done. There was something new after they encountered Jesus. They heard from God and changed their path. And I want us to do that. Let's try just keeping the momentum going. Go into the new year, despite all that it's going to throw at us, despite all we have survived, with joy and excitement. That will stand out in a crowd, won't it? I also think maybe we can try to carry over the peace and love of Christmas. You know, it's funny. That's like, so for December, I guess at least once Thanksgiving's over, everybody tries to get along. You know, oh, it's the Christmas spirit. I'll be nice for this month. I'll let you get in front of me in the line, and I won't complain with this. One of my favorite Christmas stories of all time. We're at the airport, and it is a madhouse, and we're trying to pull over and drop somebody off. I don't remember who was traveling. That wasn't important to the story. And you know, you're not supposed to leave your car in the drop-off zone. It's a drop-off zone. Someone had left their car, so we're trying to wedge in, and my dad comes up, and I mean touched bumpers. I mean, we didn't even do this, just touched bumpers with this other car. We're getting out, and this guy comes flying out of the terminal, and he's like, "That was my car you just slammed into." And my dad's like, "Well, I wouldn't have had to wedge into this small space if you hadn't left your car in the no parking zone." And the guy's like, "Check your attitude, buddy. It's Christmas." He said it a lot like that. I might be exaggerating a tad. So he knew we were supposed to all get along and be nice to each other, but he forgot that he was supposed to do part of that. But why is it that we only try to get along 1/12 of the year? Why is it only important to have a spirit of peace and love and togetherness? We used to call it brotherhood, but you know, there's women around. I don't know what the word is now. You know, how about we just all assume we're on the same team kind of thing? Maybe the Christmas spirit can carry on. Yeah, still take your tree down. You can leave some decorations up. Nobody's going to care. But keep the spirit going. Give people cookies without nuts in them. You know, still do nice things for people. Still be positive and uplifting. You don't have to quit just because Christmas is over. And of course, probably the most pertinent thing about the Christmas season and the stories that we've read and enjoyed over and over these last weeks, the hope that we see in these characters, the trust they had for each other and for God, the perseverance through hardship, the faith that we see in Elizabeth and Zechariah and Simeon and Anna and Joseph and Mary. I mean, that's something that we can really try to emulate. We can really try to think, you know, yes, there are scary things about in the world. There are intimidating things for us to deal with. We sometimes feel fearful, sometimes feel overwhelmed, where we've got vaccines, but it's going to take a little while for them to get out. A lot of unknowns, a lot of reason for worry. We can take this cue from the story of Christmas and just be okay because God's got us. God's here. God's at work. And just let him do his thing and trust. That doesn't mean we don't take precautions. He gave us a brain so we'd be smart. You know, that doesn't mean that we just sit around and do nothing. We just move forward, trusting God. We can do that. We don't have to only do that during Christmas. That is something we can definitely carry on. But most of all, I think this is what really sticks with me, and I think it fits our personality as a church. Let's keep the celebration up. You know, these were really spectacular reasons for celebration. I mean, these guys from far away saw a star, and they traveled because it was such a big deal. The shepherds saw angels, quite a few apparently, and were spoken to by the voice of God, the mouthpiece of God. Mary and Joseph had these incredible visits. Zechariah saw Gabriel. These were big things. They had a lot of reason because God was becoming flesh and visiting the earth. Emmanuel had come. But don't we have reasons to celebrate outside of that? I mean, we can celebrate the coming of Jesus literally every single day. But Christmas is done. Well, it's almost done. And I think when the parties are done, when the parades are done, the TV specials, the movies, the music, all of that, when that dies down, we don't have to stop celebrating. We don't really need the hoopla of the Christmas season to continue to celebrate, do we? We just need to stay aware of what God's doing. And everything God does, we can get excited about, just like the shepherds, just like the wise men. I mean, just as a small example, and this sort of thing happens all the time here at Urbanna Baptist. I'm going to put this on the bulletin board. Got this lovely note from an audiology company. They help people with hearing aids and that sort of thing. And just through the magic of the internet and maybe a little guidance of the Spirit, somebody who was connected to them discovered our folks and their craftiness, and we ended up, our mission team, making extenders for people with hearing aids to keep the masks from fouling up their hearing aids, and gave them to these people so they could distribute it to their customers. And when they did their in-office Secret Santa kind of thing, they decided to do a collection for charity. And everyone in the office said, we should support that group that's doing the mask extenders. And so that business and those employees sent money to our WMU as a thanks for a service they freely offered. And now we have that seed money for more projects, and we have people feeling the love of Jesus in a business, and when they come to that business for help with their hearing aids, we could throw a party for that. It's amazing. Just amazing, the reach of our tiny little church. We could celebrate almost every Sunday, something like that. So why don't we? Why don't we just celebrate the big things and the little things? Celebrate the individual things, the group things, and just keep the wonder of Christmas. There's always something wonderful, always something worth celebrating. So let's just hold on to it. Let's just say, this time, we're not letting it end. We're not settling for 12 days. We're going to make it a year of Christmas, at least in the terms of how we approach it, how we think, how we feel, how we respond to God. I think we can do that. And I think that could make for a wonderful year. Let's do it. In the name of the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. Amen.